This is one of the free flow talks where I will be sitting down and just having a chat. I am currently in Blois in France at the time of recording this, of course. I don't really feel comfortable giving my live location, but here is the view, if it picks up on the camera, of the Loire River and the beautiful medieval Gothic architectures that makes up this place, and it's beautiful. I've visited some churches and cathedrals nearby, yet to go to the Chateau de Blois today. Actually, after recording this, I will be heading off. And for those that have seen my lecture on René Guénon, or just are avid readers of him and his works, this is actually the place where he was brought up in and was born in Blois. And here I am, and it's lovely. The view here is amazing, the weather. I've always been an admirer of the French people and their culture, outside of Paris, of course, because there's more to France than Paris. And yeah, it's been amazing so far, and I am sad to leave so soon. There is a street actually named after René Guénon, Rue René Guénon. I'm yet to visit it. I don't think there's any novelty of the street that I've read into so far. It's probably just named after him, but I will go and explore that as well in the afternoon. And so yeah, here I am, seeing what influenced him, as well as finding my own influences here in this lovely place. So the topic of this video, this free flow talk, is mantras versus robotic affirming. My free flow talks are just what occurs to me in my day-to-day life, weekly basis. I'm always thinking and contemplating, and when I give and deliver a free flow talk, there's not much preparation at all. It's just, what do I feel like I've learned this week, or at least recently, to talk about, because there are a lot of topics I would love to cover. And it's just what I'm intuitively guided to speak, I suppose, and I appreciate those people that follow me on this and feel like it's beneficial for them, because I hope it does help. I do not have my microphone. I always forget this when I'm traveling, the mic adapter, so hopefully the audio is still nice and clear when I process it later. So yes, mantras versus robotic affirmations. What are the differences? Why am I against robotic affirming, but why do I support and advocate for mantras? So with the modern manifestation content, there's so many videos about robotic affirming and saturation methods. And when I would, explore this topic for the past 5 years-ish, I have tried many different techniques, thinking that it was the technique, not realizing it was me this whole time, and relaying the power outside of me and putting it into this technique. And I have tried the robotic affirming for 3 days sort of challenge, and it worked, but then I realized how it wasn't sustainable at all. Constantly repeating a single thought throughout the day, it just felt so forced and unnatural. When you're determined and you really want something, within those 3 days, you will have the energy to do that, but for the rest of your life, as a way of living, absolutely not. It's just not possible. It's unnatural, and you're trying to control and force the flow, or the Tao, which I like to refer to from Taoism and ancient Chinese philosophy. Well, in the East, it's not really philosophy, but just for the sake of mutual understanding. And I've mentioned this in a previous video of me essentially saying my thoughts on robotic affirmations. And when you're forcing a thought, you are not allowing yourself to contemplate and be connected with all the other thoughts, whether they're good, bad, or ugly. I always say that phrase. That might invoke inspiration or spark an idea to go out and do something, and that might actually be the path of what the current manifestation content says, the path of least resistance. And you never know, you have to be open to the possibilities, knowing that what you desire has already been done and it's inevitable. And you're just walking through, these buzzwords, the quantum field or the quantum portal or something that I've heard. And so, yeah, it's being open to receiving. You're in receiving mode and not always just trying to put things out there. Because if you're constantly trying to put things out there, what is your identity right now? If you truly had something, like, for example, I have this camera right in front of me, I am not constantly affirming for it if I know I already have it. And I get it, I truly do, that when you know you don't have something and you're trying to manifest it or shift to the identity that has it, it might take some repetition and consistency and persistence. That I agree with and advocate for. But doing it in a healthy measure, because when you do it constantly and desperately, this will keep you in a trap of not being the person that has it. And you will always be the chaser rather than the receiver. And it will always run away from you because you're identifying yourself as someone that's chasing it. So how can we utilize this healthy repetition, knowing and identifying with the person that already has it, but using it as a reminder and not as a means to get something? And this is why I always go back to traditions. I have a traditionalist point of view that I agree with, that our ancestors have been doing. And, in many spiritual traditions and cultures, mantras have been, throughout our time and history, it's not, this was before robotic affirming became a buzzword and term. This has always been that way, and it's nothing like a technique that you have to go outside of yourself and do. It's here in the now, where you use your breath work, whether it's through an actual sitting down and closing your eyes meditation or presence and awareness type of meditation where you can walk and meditate. And as long as whatever you're doing, as long as if you're focusing on your breath work, to me that is meditation. When you're in a state of this calm tranquility and you're able to accept thoughts flowing, coming and going, but you drop this ripple. Oh wait, let me articulate that a bit better. You're dropping pebbles into that flow, into that stream in a rhythmic, calm way. And the ripples those pebbles produce in that stream are powerful, so long as you're not forcefully throwing rocks into this stream. And that's what I think robotic affirming does. You're just forcefully trying to control the stream and its flow rather than doing it in I don't like to say the word systematic as if we're robots, but in a gentle, intuitive pattern or rhythmic flow as and when it suits you in the given moment, in the present, eternal now. And I believe that's what mantras do for us. So I love the idea of repetition, especially if my mind is wandering towards thoughts that are not in my favor or are not preferable or goes against what I want to experience in this physical world. And so it's just repeating gently. And I'm not forcing the tranquility or trying to be still. There are moments where you can get riled up, you can get angry, you can get passionate, you can be intense. And you can do this through intense emotions, is what I'm trying to say. You do not have to always be forcing the calmness. The only attention that should be placed is in the breath work, because then the result or the consequence of that brings you back into the tranquility, and then you start saying the mantras. Wherever I am, whenever I need it, I just repeat my affirmations in line, in tune with my breath work. I'm not forcing it, I'm not trying to overthink it, I'm not trying to really consciously shift identities. I'm just repeating it and being aware of the present moment in the now, because it's happening right now. It's not happening in the past or the future. I'm bringing it now. I am love, I am love, I am love. But I'm not saying it fast. I'm saying it in tune with my breathing. And that is the difference between mantras and robotic affirming. Mantras help bring you into the now. It helps as a guide and aid to regulate your nervous system, which is incredibly important. It's very stoic, it's very Taoist, of accepting everything that is in the now. No matter what the outside world is showing you, it is constantly changing. Nothing ever remains. Nothing ever lasts, as morbid as that sounds. But what does remain is your conscious awareness in the now. And it's honestly, it's just resisting nothing. And I love that phrase, resist nothing. I actually used to watch, and I still recommend if you haven't, Tom Karen in the Be Something Wonderful channel. I will put the link in my description. I used to watch him, and I really have it in his voice when I hear him say, resist nothing. And who do you say that I am? He has some phrases that he repeats because he doesn't change the core teaching of who are you being in the now, and to resist nothing. I love it. Resist nothing. There's some power in it. There's power in knowing you can't control, because the control is in the power of letting go. You can control that part, that aspect. And because you relinquish all attachments and worries and resistance, it's ironically you tapping back into that power by letting go of control. I don't know how to explain it. It's a feeling, it's a way of being right now. It's feeling interconnected. I often feel when I just let go of everything and I just accept it, just as I am recording this video right now. I can feel in tune with the space that I'm in, sitting in this room, the background noise, the sound of the cars passing by. I'm not in a rush to say what I have to say in this free flow talk. It comes and goes as my thoughts come and go, and flows through my words as I speak. And I might not make sense, I might do, whether it's to myself or to the people watching this. You know, it's this flow, it's a dance, as Alan Watts calls it, and I love it, the dance of life. And you can only feel that when you're not resisting. And I think he also articulates this much better when he says, when you dance, you don't try and think about the next steps or moves ahead. You just flow into the dance itself. And also it's like when you're listening to music, stop trying to anticipate the next words and the lyrics, or the next rhythmic pattern in the beat, in the melody, even though our brain is naturally doing so. Try and relinquish that when you're listening to music and actually hear it for what it is right now. And also, I heard from one of his talks, Alan Watts that is, where how often when we're sitting down or we think we're relaxed, we're actually still tensing as if we're fighting gravity. And I've said this in a previous video of reality is a love letter to yourself, where I think everything is designed to love me in my reality. That's the perspective, the romanticization that I love to have. I think if I was to have my own philosophy, it's definitely to romanticize everything. The good, bad, and ugly, as I keep saying. And so, where was I going with this? Yeah, to hear the music. Oh, and to not resist. So I often find myself naturally clenching, like I said, and resisting gravity. But as a way of grounding myself, I just let go. And I had someone tell me reminding me to ground myself. And when I think of the word grounding, I think of physically letting go of any resistance against gravity. I love being able to think like this. And so when I do let go, like as I'm sitting on this chair, I'm feeling my weight against it, but not as a way of me pushing, but as a way of gravity lifting and holding me up. That is what I feel like the term grounding is to me. Whether it's this chair or the ground I walk on, wherever I'm sitting or leaning on, it's gravity holding me up. And it was designed to hold me up in my reality just as much as it was designed to hold you up in yours. And it's physically letting go in the now, grounding yourself. And then for me, that opens the door of spiritually and mentally, emotionally resisting nothing and just accepting everything that is. It's not always easy to keep being in this flow, especially if you're not used to it. It is a practice, but even then it's not something that you achieve and master once and that's it, you do nothing and everything is smooth and easy. It gets easier. That is the whole point of character development and growth. There's always a next level to attain and to achieve, not in a ambitious, very masculine way of needing to prove yourself or to achieve, but it's like a natural part of your evolution as your conscious awareness, as you gain character, etc. And so, yeah, I feel like I've said everything that I'd like to say. Kind of deviated a little bit from the mantras versus robotic affirming, but truly, affirm, if you're going to repeat something, an affirmation, affirm in a state of tranquility where you're not forcing it. You use your breathwork to guide you to that sweet spot. And then when you affirm with this release. And you repeat it, and you're not feeling any force of repeating it. You just kind of say it as slow as you need to, as slow as it naturally comes to you, because there's no rush. And I think that's why I think it's way more effective than robotically affirming and repeating so many times and keeping account of it all. Because if you're not even in a rush to affirm something in a repetitive state, that is you abiding with the eternal now, knowing that there's no rush, it's already done. So what are you chasing? You're not affirming in a linear time, you're affirming in that eternal state. Now that is powerful, and I really recommend you try this and hold on to it. Do not robotically affirm, because you're not a robot. As much as all these terms of like the matrix, etc., people use, and simulation, I get it, and it's fun to entertain it, but what does it mean to be human and to be one with everything, interconnected? You are not separate from nature, and nature does not force anything, so why should you? I hope this free flow talk was helpful. I would like to end it with my disclaimer that I am by no means claiming to be knowledgeable in everything, except that I am in the humble pursuit of wisdom. If you would like to work with me, all my links are in my description. I offer one-to-one mentoring sessions as well as email coaching, and feel free to reach out if you are interested. This is a little side note I would like to make for those that watch me on a weekly basis, and I appreciate your support. I have been receiving a lot of emails throughout the past 3 to 4 months as the channel has been growing. I will always appreciate it, but some of these emails I feel like crosses a boundary for me personally that I would like to publicly set, in the sense of I make my videos personal in the sense of delivering it personally, but not really giving my personal life, and I would like to keep that separate. And I understand that it's really nice to feel connected with other people on the internet and also within the client sessions, etc. It's very important, but there are boundaries that I feel like are important and should be in place, where I would appreciate it a lot more if the content is more focused on rather than the person itself, which is obviously me in this scenario. I would like to separate that a little bit before it gets to a state of uncomfortableness from myself, because we are also strangers, and as much as I'd like to feel like this is a wonderful community that I'm building and growing here, we all need to have our boundaries in place. And yeah, I hope I articulated that. I didn't want to give too much on the emails I received, but some of them can be a bit uncomfortable to read. And so yeah, I would like to end this video on that as well. But thank you so much for watching and supporting this channel.